How's it going? We're live here at the last Liberty Arena Sanctuary, and we're a church here, and we got a burning sermon here for you today, and we're going to be talking about the commandments of God. We're going to be talking about equating this with graded cards, graded sports cards, because I see a very striking parallel between graded cards and the commandments, because you have the decad of Pythagoras, the 10, and gem mint cards that are a gem mint 10 are worth obviously the most amongst graded cards. But then when you look at the 9s, the 8s, the 7s, and even the 6s, you see that there's, they're all kind of the same value, which isn't very much. Even a 9, where you see how when you put a 9 up against a 10, there's very little difference. Very minute, minuscule difference. And this is kind of like where I see Christians keeping the commandments of God. There's a lot of Christians out there that they're a PSA 9 Christian, you might say. But they're missing that Sabbath, which gives them the decad, the 10, the gem mint. And it's my personal conviction that I feel that the Lord is really interested only in these last days in the gem mints. Just like collectors are really only interested in the gem mints. They're only interested in the gem mint cards. But what's so ironic is it's just a minute difference between potentially a saved, chosen person of God and someone who's a Lord Christian, PSA 9er. I'm just saying, folks. I'm just trying to bring this to light. I'm not trying to convict anybody here or judge anybody. I'm just saying, hey, this is a way we can identify, I think, God's system here of how he's judging us. And, we can kind of see through the graded card system here that I think there's a striking parallel between this. So really, when you look at it, if you're not a gem mint in the eyes of the Lord, you're kind of just like a PSA 8 Christian, PSA 7 Christian, PSA 6 Christian. Because when you look at the prices for these cards in past auctions, the 6, 7, 8, 9, they're all like kind of along the same lines. But then the gem mint is just like, an astonishing amount of money, Is there a parallel here? Is there a lesson to be learned or understood here in this sermon? And it's kind of, Jesus says, narrow is the path. Gem mint is the path, friend. See what I'm saying? Broad is the PSA 9, 8, 7, 6. Christian. Because clearly we know there's going to be people who are going to have a form of godliness. They're going to look to everybody around them like, hey, that's a good person. That he loves the Lord. He professes to be Christian and kind of seems like he's pretty good guy. You think the Lord would be like, that would be good enough in the eyes of the Lord. If you're representing a PSA 9 grade, that's pretty convincing to everybody else, I would imagine. But in the eyes of Jesus and the Lord, Jesus is going to have to say, depart from me, I did not know you. Just that one little, could it be one little minuscule difference? Insignificant difference? That could determine Jesus saying that to you in your walk, in keeping the commandments. Because that's really what this is about. It's about the commandments of God. And this isn't just, I'm not trying to stress this issue. Jesus is trying to stress this issue to his disciple John when he's giving him the message in Revelation. When he's talking in Revelation 14 of the chosen ones, he's saying, these are they who keep the commandments of God. And it's a decad. It's all 10. You see? If you're a PSA 9, I would say you need to figure it out. What's going to get you to a gem mint? Because if you're already a PSA 9 Christian, then, well, I mean, you're pretty close. You're pretty close. But I think what you're lacking, friend, is the Sabbath. The Sabbath is that 10th commandment that's hard to attain. It's hard to be willing to make that sacrifice in our mark of the beast, modern day culture and society that's trying to frown upon keeping the Sabbath, obviously, because nothing in our buying and selling system acknowledges the Sabbath and keeps it holy. Which then makes it harder for other people just trying to live their lives to excel in that area. When you look at the word mark of the beast in the Greek, it literally translates to the trap of weakness. And that's the kind of system and culture and society we're living in. We're living in a trap of weakness culture and society where there's so many traps out there to ensnare us. One of them is the Sabbath. Because obviously the mark of the beast is 666. It's everything anti 777, completion. It's disharmony. It's a half-done job, which is a trap of weakness for people who are trying to be PSA 10 Christians. You know what I mean? So, I just feel like this is where we're at right now. This is the edifying fruit and truth, that people need to be hearing, because it's just like, what other option do you have? You can either continue to keep underachieving, taking the mark of the beast, buying and selling all the things that are, not spiritually edifying for your body, your soul, and your spirit. And so this is why we're here. We're trying to, encourage people to rise higher. I think this has been a good parable, you might say, to help people kind of understand where we're coming from here. Regarding the commandments, the graded cards. This is kind of a popular thing right now, graded cards. So we're trying to utilize that to help people to see this perspective, in a better light. So I hope this was something that was encouraging. And until we meet again, brother love.